Hey everyone, so I'm with Jess Gates. How you going, Jess?
Good. How are you, Glenn?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. So I thought I'd have a chat with you. You spent the day out with me on the street, you know, and I love some of the work you do. You're one of those really authentic souls, and as you know what I'm like. That's important to me. That people are who they say they are, and you are. So what I wanted to do with you, Jess, was just share a little bit about your story. Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start with what age did you pick up the meth?
I was a bit of a late bloomer. I was 23, 22 when I picked up meth for the first time, but I had been dabbling with drugs and alcohol from quite a young age. From about 13, I started drinking and partying, but yeah, I was introduced to meth at the age of 22 by a good friend of mine that actually told me, "Don't worry, Jess, it's okay, it's just like speed."
Yeah, right. It's the problem, you know, who we surround ourselves in our lives has a big outplay into how our lives play out.
Yeah,
so how many years were you using the meth?
On and off for about 7 years, but I can tell you now it definitely felt like 15 years because you're up and awake that entire time.
Let's talk about some of those dark days. What did they look like?
Oh, really full of fear and a lot of loneliness. There was a lot of dark moments over that 7-year period. I remember running to rehab a number of times to get clean because I was just so scared that I was not going to make it out of some of those situations that I'd found myself in. But I feel like that emptiness inside was one of the worst things ever. I was just feeling nothing. I literally was walking around the streets of Mount Druitt feeling nothing, and that's a scary place to be in.
So is that where you started out, Mount Druitt?
Yeah, so I did majority of my using around St. Mary's, Mount Druitt, Parramatta, Cabra, Canley.
Yeah.
Those were Doonside. Those were my main stomping grounds. Liverpool as well. I kind of went all over Sydney, but stuck southwest, western Sydney.
You know, I spent a lot of time myself on the meth, and the distortion, the what's that word? You know, where you can't psychosis.
Psychosis, yeah. I was in severe drug-induced psychosis quite early on.
Yeah.
Full of these crazy thoughts, seeing shadow people, thinking that other people were out to get me. You know, I was very scared for my family. I thought that my brother was going to be hurt. I thought I was going to be hurt. But it's not real, you know. Your thoughts just go so scattered and so crazy and intense, and it's the drugs, it's the lack of sleep, it's the not eating, it's a number of things that make your brain just go absolutely crazy and you've got no control over it.
What do you think the catalyst for change for you was? What's the defining moment where you said, you know what, fuck this?
When I went to jail. I was sitting in a jail cell out at Mullawa, and I'd just been classoed E, which means an escapee, and I was told by the girls that I would never go to a minimum security jail, that I'd always go to a maximum security. And they were just like, "You do not want to come back here, Jess. You know, if you keep coming back, it's not going to be a pretty life for you." And yeah, I thank those girls that I was locked up with, because they really did help me see that I shouldn't go back to jail, and that was it for me. I had that one jail stint, and I've never looked back.
You know, you're not going to tell me you're in E classo without telling me what happened. I mean, let me just be clear. You don't look like you could reach the door handles. How the fuck are you going to get over a wall?
I know, right? Like, seriously, do I look like an escapee to you? So yeah, unfortunately, you know, when we're using, we make really terrible choices, and I was one of those people that made extremely bad choices, and they resulted in severe consequences, which resulted in a weapons charge, which got me an E-classo. So between breaking into utensils and a weapon, I was classified as a possible person that could escape jail. But yeah.
But look at you now, man. Like, look what you do now. Like, so let's talk a little bit about what you do now, because that's the Jess I know, right? The person that's got the heart. And like, you know, I'm a heart person, right? People who have genuine hearts to do genuine good and help people. So let's tell us a little about how you've changed your life around and made something of it.
So when I came into this recovery, I really struggled at the beginning, and I went and did all the things everyone told me to do at NA and rehab. You know, I went and studied, I went to counselling, I went to NA meetings, I went to Smart Recovery, I did everything. And I thought if I just kept doing the next right thing, everything would keep getting better. But it didn't. the first couple of years of this recovery, I got smashed in the face by the system. I kept getting shut down, and I kept getting told that I couldn't work within the system. So I went and studied, I did my AOD, I did my diploma in mental health. I really wanted to be a youth worker, and I got told that I couldn't because of my record. So I decided to start working in hospitality, and through that I started volunteering within my community, because I realized through working in the pub that there were so many people out there that didn't know what help was available to them. Some of them didn't even realize that they had a problem until I brought it to their attention, or I'd be offered things and I'd be like, no thank you, I'm in recovery. And then people would be like, oh, what's that? And then I'd say, oh, I've been to rehab, I go to NA. And a lot of people didn't know. And I was like, hold on, how did I get help? How did I get the help that I needed, but there's so many people out there that aren't getting this help? So yeah, I just started going out, and it was during COVID actually. I found a lot of the services shut down over COVID, and a lot of my community members were still out there struggling. No food, no support. And yeah, we just started connecting through my dog. I'd take my chihuahua out into the Liverpool community, and I did get lucky. I had a few people that remembered me from the streets and knew I'd like turn my life around. So yeah, they welcomed me with open arms, the community members, and yeah, we've kind of just kept growing from there. And I now work in the NDIS space, do recovery coaching. I like to only work with people that have complex mental health and AOD issues, because I was once that person.
Yeah, I get it. When we live in that space of finally getting clean, we start and living life on life's terms. It's not so easy straight away. People don't understand that we've used meth or heroin for me or whatever it is to mask the way we feel, and then when we've actually got to start dealing with life on life's terms, that's a different beast. So what rehab did you go through?
I went through 3 different rehabs. So I went through William Booth and Duralong this last time, which is a Salvo's run rehab. But prior to that, I was at Who's New Beginnings. I did that program 4 times. So I always say it doesn't matter how many times you give rehab a go, as long as you don't give up. Like every time that fear is creeping in and you feel like things are getting too much, just call a detox. Get your ass to detox or rehab. That is a safe space.
Absolutely. I mean, I went through MTAR, and remember when Roselle was being built, I was in Surrey Hills at the time. Is that the one you went through, Roselle?
Yeah, I went through Roselle.
I never got to see that fully developed, you know. It was supposed to be amazing. They did have a pool table and everything in there, right?
Oh, they had lots of stuff. But I just think I'm so grateful to know that I've lived in a heritage listed building that is an actual mansion, and I've lived in ballrooms, and you know, I've lived in buildings with multi-million-dollar views, and Duralong was actually the best rehab.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah, it was an old hotel that was donated to the Salvos, and they had huts, and it's on 250 acres. It's got a pool. It's got it's just amazing. Like I say to anyone, like if you're consistently going to jail, why? When you can go to a rehab and be treated with a bit of respect. You know, I know there's rules at rehab, but in jail, you've got nothing. You're no one. You're a number.
Yeah.
You're a scum under someone's foot.
Yeah.
But you go to rehab and you're treated as a person. Yeah, there might be rules around smoking or phone calls or cleaning and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But how much better is it compared to jail?
Absolutely. You know, when I was in jail, I always say my addict was outside doing push-ups, waiting for me. Literally waiting. It's like a time warp. There's nothing happens in jail. And I often speak about, I would love to see prisons where they're set up with an incentive where you do anger management, drug and alcohol, and all these different things that improve lives. And for that, you get reduced time or more access or whatever it is, or however that looks. Jess, it's been always an honour talking with you. I loved you coming out on the street with us today. If you're not following her, it's Jessie Gades. Tell us, what are all your socials?
Journey at Jess. Pretty much just type in Journey with Jess on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and you can find me. Reach out. I'm always happy to help if I can. If I can't point you in the right direction, I'm sure I'll be able to find someone that can.
And her content's actually really insightful. I actually watched Jess's stuff myself, and it's actually really informative. Thank you, Jess.
Thanks, Glenn.
You're welcome, mate.